I ain't gonna lie. You gotta understand though. Nigga just got his ass beat. You feel me? But that's real homeboy. He got his ass beat from everybody in the game. But still came when they needed him the most. Niggas shot down against the government for them niggas. Nigga burned down the government flag for them niggas. You go to jail for that in real life. That's what happens when the comedic character locks in.
Goofy. Silly. Funny.
Usopp ain't hop on Demon Time yet.
Characters that embody these qualities have been around since the dawn of time.
Probably.
From Greek myths to Shakespeare to pretty much every anime imaginable. Even in real life, we often see groups of people accompanied by their personal jester. All of these guys are always
Naruto
there.
went from a
They're
goofy nigga to a
typically
demon though.
overshadowed by people like generic main character 37 or
Cap.
We're not going to disrespect Ichigo. No, the fuck we're not. We're not gonna do that generic MC. Fuck no. That's one thing about Ichigo. That nigga has character depth, growth, and progression that's setting him apart from other niggas. Don't do that.
And because of that, everyone writes them off as weak, pathetic, ridiculous, the last person you'd ever feel threatened by. But there's a strong possibility that at some point in your life, either through the infinite wisdom of age, or thanks to somebody who had seen enough of the world to know better, you found out that the loudest laughs often hide the deepest pain. Upon having that realization, you probably moved on like the buffoon you are. But deep down, in the back of your mind, you kept asking yourself,
Netsu.
what happens if I've underestimated them?
He closed them eyes?
What happens when the joke is over and all this pain finally comes out? What happens when the goofy, silly, funny person locks in?
No, I ain't gonna lie, I love this trope.
Let's start with
Always
a
did.
very strong one.
Always did. My nigga James.
Jesse and James from Pokemon might be the most recognizable villains in anime history. And I say villains very loosely. Because these guys only got serious after 660 episodes.
That's real.
Basically. These two work for Team Rocket. We're talking about a massive international criminal organization stealing people's animals, running illegal experiments, and much, much more. On paper, they're supposed to be elite agents. But if you know anything about Pokemon, you know that these two are spectacularly terrible at their job.
No, I'm not gonna lie, because they was stated to be elite agents of Team Rocket. So if that's how they was moving, and they are the best of the best, they had you couldn't think of this was a real organization you had to be scared of.
The entire operation turned into one single obsession: stealing
Pikachu,
the main character's Pikachu.
Son of Arceus.
Episode
Can't blame him.
after episode, season after season, and pretty much every region the entire story has taken place in, they have failed. Their goofiness comes down to stuff like their disguises. These two would throw on the most ridiculous, bare minimum, last-minute costumes you have ever seen in your life,
James,
and somehow
that might be racist.
everybody fell for it every single time.
That blackface?
Ash looked this man dead in the eye with some sunglasses and went, I wonder who that could be. They would take their sweet time doing the most theatrical, dramatic, over-the-top introduction known to mankind just to immediately get bamboozled by children. And of course, the sentence that has been burned into anime history forever, followed by a little twinkle in the sky.
Again?
The crazy thing is that these two were not stupid. In fact, they were talented at so many different things. They just could not, for the life of them, catch one Pikachu. Over time, nobody really saw them as villains anymore. They just kind of became these lovable, chaotic pieces of furniture that were part of Ash's journey and that you actually looked forward to seeing every episode. But what you probably have no idea about is that at some point, all of this changed for about 20 episodes.
Which episode?
When Pokemon Black and White dropped, the people behind the show decided they were going to do something a little different. The Unova region was being treated like completely uncharted, dangerous territory with new rules. Giovanni, the boss of Team Rocket, promoted these clowns. They swapped out the white uniforms for black ones, and from that moment on, Jesse and James dropped the Pikachu obsession entirely. These two are now operating as cold, calculated agents reporting directly to Giovanni himself. And for some reason, they were suddenly kind of good at it.
I don't remember
For example,
this.
while Ash was completely distracted worrying about his second gym battle, they found a full laser grid security system protecting rare items in a museum, bypassed.
Niggas switched from white to all black, got some fucking trench coats and shit. Now they're grade 8 fucking employees. What the fuck? Wait, cause no, Jessie look like she on a mission though. Well, she
The whole
is.
thing in a matter of seconds.
Well, they are.
Went in, grabbed a genuine ancient meteorite, and replaced it with a perfect fake on the way out, while nobody noticed.
Well, I don't
All the
remember this.
disguises and speeches that made them who they are
They was in and out.
were gone. I mean, you know, for 20 episodes, and then they were like back to normal. But still. Unlike
I gotta
Jesse and
finish Mob
James,
Psycho.
who just avoided the main character altogether once they got serious, Dimple from Mob Psycho 100 is a goofball who locked in so hard that he managed to beat the main character. Dimple is an evil
getting
spirit that
spoiled.
starts the series with one
Fuck it.
singular goal: brainwash enough humans and get enough followers to become, you know, a god. He creates his own personal cult called LOL, Lord of
Lol.
Laughter. Then he meets Mob, the main character of the series, and gets effortlessly destroyed in their very first interaction. Trust me, this is pretty normal considering Mob is, you know, literally the most overpowered character in the series. And what is left of this evil spirit
Turn
is
into a
just
fart.
a tiny little green cloud with his tiny little arms and bright pink
Turn that
circles
nigga
on
to
his
a fucking
face.
fart.
As a way to survive, he latches onto Mob and becomes his closest companion. And look, his intentions were not honorable at the start. Let's be real about that. The original plan was to either possess Mob's insanely powerful body for himself, or manipulate him into helping take over the entire world.
And that wasn't
What
gonna work.
actually happened, though, is that this man spent the entire series accidentally becoming Mob's friend. The reason Dimple is so funny to me is that he has the ego of a final boss. He will stop mid-conversation to monologue about his grand destiny, his inevitable rise to power, his future conquest of the entire world. But most of the other characters just straight up ignore that he exists
Like
at
Stewie.
all. But then, after a whole series worth of failed opportunities
They
and
begin
close
the Stewie
calls
treatment.
and plans that went absolutely nowhere, this man finally kind of figures something out. At some point, Mob accidentally channels a massive burst of psychic energy into a broccoli seed. Yes, a broccoli seed. And this thing sprouts into a skyscraper-sized broccoli in the middle of the city. While everybody is standing around, losing their minds trying to figure out what they're even looking at, Dimple just quietly slips inside it and starts using all of that massive psychic energy for himself. He
He's back
then
on bullshit.
distributes the power as broccoli-flavored snacks across the entire city, which brainwashes.
They're telling me he went from a nigga trying to be a god to a fucking drug dealer.
What?
He's the plug. And then it's the broccoli's green. Nigga's a plug. Wait, that's how the fucking show ended? Wasting my time, aren't I?
Most of the people living
Nigga
inside
turned
it,
to a plug,
all of them
like,
become devoted followers who are
they're
now
all high?
calling the broccoli the divine tree. When Mob finally tracks him down and confronts him,
See this, Naruto?
Dimple absorbs the tree's energy and transforms into Golden Dimple, a towering,
Well, nigga caked up.
muscular, shimmering gold armor-wearing being who genuinely
nigga
goes
caked up.
toe-to-toe with Mob's full psychic powers. In that moment, the man who started the series as a little wispy cloud has achieved everything he ever wanted.
Hold on.
But then, Mob, the only person who ever accepted him and treated him like he actually mattered, stops fighting and simply speaks to him. He understands that sometimes people get carried away. He sees that Dimple's obsession with power was never really about power. It was a lonely spirit who just wanted to feel less lonely. Dimple abandons his plan, but as he accompanies the exhausted Mob back home, the divine tree goes completely berserk. Dimple uses the last of his power to battle the tree in one of the most spectacular fights in the series.
Wait, I might have to finish this here. Hold on.
When Mob wakes up, Dimple hypnotizes
I
him
like Pikachu
and
in the face now.
convinces him to walk away safely while he stays behind and sacrifices himself in order to defeat the broccoli, drop it into the ocean, and protect his friend before vanishing into nothingness. There are also times when goofy characters are
Wait a fucking minute. You're telling me Mob Psycho ends with fucking Broccoli being the main fucking villain? Plot point? Yo, I'm pissed.
simply overshadowed by other characters who are just, way more cooler than they are. Until you realize that they were secretly hiding the most powerful technique in the entire series.
My nigga, my guy.
Naruto is a high-ranking ninja of the Hidden Leaf Village. And even though he is one of the most respected fighters in the entire series, he is also out here with a shiny bowl cut, massive, legendary eyebrows that honestly have their own presence, and a skin-tight green spandex jumpsuit that he wears every single day and forces his student to wear as well. This man makes funny poses, funny faces, and is ridiculously passionate at all times for the most random stuff. He once lost a casual bet and sentenced himself and his student to 5,000 handstand laps around the entire village. He crashed through a building screaming dynamic entry during a very serious situation and accidentally kicked one of the good guys because he thought it was a bad guy. And last but not least, there are several times he looked Kisame dead in the face, as in, the giant blue shark man, somebody he has fought multiple times and didn't remember who he was. But
look though, nigga so cold. He just a minor autism. You don't gotta remember that shit. Nigga, you feel me? That he ain't a nigga you gotta remember. Come on, that's some real nigga shit.
You don't know what you're saying. You don't know what you're saying.
The thing that really ties the whole guy experience together is that this man declared himself Kakashi's eternal rival. This is extremely important to him, but Kakashi just kinda tolerates it. And the reason this dynamic is so incredible is because Kakashi has, I believe, genuine, undeniable aura. The man knows thousands of techniques. He's a cool, calm, collected, mask on, hands in pockets kind of dude. But on the other hand, in a world that runs entirely on special techniques, Guy decided to just punch things. Throughout the series, you can see he's powerful. But there's always this layer of goofball energy sitting on top of everything he does that just makes it impossible to ever fully take him seriously. Until the Fourth Shinobi War reaches its peak.
The Fourth Great Ninja War begins now.
We are late in the series, and at this point, the legendary ninja Madara Uchiha has become the host of the immensely powerful Ten Tails Beast. He has defeated the leaders of the great ninja nations and overpowered most of the heroes. He has become so overwhelmingly strong that conventional attacks no longer have any effect on him. In a last-ditch effort, Guy steps forward and opens the 8th gate. The gate of death.
Like, no, you gotta look, you really gotta look here. Y'all boys, Hard Soul just got chroma ripped out of his ass. He's on life support. Sakura had to cut nigga's side open, recompress his heart, recompressions. Sasuke on his deathbed. Like, nigga, my guy said, nah, I'm locked in here. Nigga, he ran to that bitch, popped, and 1v1 my nigga Madara. Who'da thought? I ain't gonna lie. Who'da thought that shit was gonna happen? I did it.
His sweat into boiling red steel. His hair stands like some kind of beast. His eyes become white. He moves so fast that he literally kicks the air to fly. His speed destroys the fabric of space around him. But he also gains this immense power, knowing full well
he will die after.
And once this brief transformation is over, he will die. That is the price one has to pay for opening the gate of death. For his final strike, he channels every last drop of his remaining life force into a single attack. A technique named Night Guy, which shatters Madara's ribs, vaporizes half his torso, and forces a man who has become a god to scream in exhilaration and declare Guy the strongest of them all. Guy spent the entire series being the loud, embarrassing, overly emotional counterpart to the cool and effortlessly gifted Kakashi. The truth was that the man who couldn't use a single technique pushed his human body so far beyond.
You're fucking up here. He's not Rock Lee.
He's out of line, but he's right.
That guy had techniques. He could do shit. He could do the dishes and shit. He just wanted the box. You see her door? That bitch not taijutsu.
On its limits, he nearly killed a god with his bare hands.
That's
while being genuinely willing to die in order.
Like, he was willing to die behind that, young boys. Like, think. All for the set, nigga.
Okay. You think that's sick? I totally get it.
Nah, it's real shit.
What if I told you that there are also times where a silly character is just a regular dude with a sword until he locks in and cuts
Oh, no,
the
spoilers.
entire
Ah,
planet into like a tomato.
I'm on
this
season 2.
Arthur from Fire Force is a fire soldier. Basically, a firefighter with superpowers. The world this story takes place in is plagued by something called spontaneous human combustion, meaning people randomly burst into flames and turn into monsters. And to deal with that, you need guys like Arthur who are pyrokinetics, meaning they can control and manipulate fire. In Arthur's case, he can channel it through a hilt and create an ultra-hot energy
Plasma
blade
blade,
that he
you feel me?
personally named Excalibur.
That's
On
tough.
paper, he is one of the most powerful fighters in the entire series. In practice, he's an absolute nightmare.
He's a dumbass.
This man suffers from a severe delusion where he genuinely believes that he lives in a high fantasy medieval kingdom all the time. But where it gets actually insane is that his combat power is directly tied to how deep into the delusion he goes. At some point, Arthur is visiting this workshop, and a fight breaks out. He needs to fight, but he can't because he doesn't feel knightly enough. So the workshop owner looks around, grabs whatever junk he has there,
Like,
builds this
watching
man
this
a
episode for
fake
the first
sword,
time,
and most importantly,
that nigga
attaches
is
a
the Lulu.
donkey head to him as a fake horse. Everybody else standing around is just praying and genuinely preparing for the worst because this idiot is what they're working with right now. Very reasonable. But Arthur, who feels like the most knightly knight that has ever existed in the history of knighthood, went out there and put up a very good fight. So
Nigga
yeah,
put on a
he's
show.
undeniably powerful, but you unfortunately never really know if you're gonna get the power when it matters. Much later in the story, the Great Cataclysm hits. This is
Wait, I'm
literally
not
a
there
world-ending
yet.
event where the Earth is being consumed by fire due to a group of villains who want to bring the world back to a state of chaos. Arthur fights the almost invincible villain Dragon, against whom he has been
Night
struggling
Slayer
this
Dragon?
entire time, pretty much. At some point, their final confrontation is brought directly to the surface of the moon. Don't ask me how it
the
happened.
fuck is he breathing
Dragon
out there?
blasts Arthur's left arm and burns away the lower half of his body with a devastating attack. Bleeding out in the dead of space, Arthur accepts that he only has one final attack left in him. He raises Excalibur overhead and unleashes Violet Earth Cleaver. The slash travels thousands of miles through the vacuum of space.
Did he
and
cut the
strikes
sun?
Earth directly.
Wait, that's the
cleanly
Earth? Wait, what
covering
the
entire
fuck? What the fuck happened in Fire Force for the fuck? Wait, it's the sun. Gotta finish this shit.
planet in two. Weirdly enough, there are also times where a silly character manages to make you cry out of nowhere.
This Haikyuu? I never watched it. I really should. Tanaka.
Tanaka from Haikyuu is a second-year volleyball player at Karasuno, and the team's personal hype man. What makes him hilarious is the pure, unhinged, uncontrollable enthusiasm. This man is loud, hot-blooded, and the most sincere human
Yeah,
being
what else be-
in the entire show. Now, visually, the dude has a full buzz cut and has made it his personal mission to look like an intimidating delinquent. For some reason, he is genuinely trying to strike terror into the hearts of his enemies. And it does not work. In fact, it completely kills whatever serious atmosphere the team had going and makes everybody around him uncomfortable every single time. But none of that compares to what happens when their manager enters the picture. This man treats her like she descended directly from the heavens and was placed
Oh, he
on
got a
this
little
earth
crush, huh?
specifically for him to admire. This man was raised in the loudest, most supportive household imaginable. And the main culprit is his older sister, who is somehow even more of a menace than he is. For most of the series, there isn't anything exceptional or even out of the ordinary about him. Unlike a lot of other characters, he doesn't particularly get an emotional arc or a specific moment that makes him shine brighter than anyone else. Don't get me wrong, he is good, but definitely not a prodigy like some other members of his team. Until one day, Karasuno faces Inarazaki High, the second-ranked team in the nation. Their players quickly identify Tanaka as the weak link and make it a deliberate strategy to repeatedly shut down his attacks and target him whenever there is an opportunity. For the first time in the series, his energy is gone. He feels completely quiet. With the score tight, Tanaka is exhausted. mentally cornered, and just can't seem to play well whatsoever. The goofiness subsides as he gets frustrated. But despite all of that, even though most people would have given up, he slowly gets more and more focused. I've always known I was a pretty average dude. When I was a little kid, I was convinced I was a total prodigy. But now, I'm not number one in anything. And yet, that is not a good reason for me to give up.
That's great. That's a great way of thinking. I like that.
His teammate sets the ball to him. Inorizaki's blockers instantly close off
Ooh,
every angle.
can't fake that
As Tanaka
shit.
runs up to the ball, he remembers all these times he thought of himself as nothing but average, in midair, with less than a second to react. He hits the ball and delivers an ultra-sharp inner shot, slicing it right past the wall of blockers and landing it clean. In one of the most beautiful moments in the show, the boy everyone wrote off as a loudmouth fool proved he could withstand a level of pressure that would have broken almost anyone else.
Ooh, they try to paint him as the weak link on the team for the nigga to do what he had to do and win. Had everybody shook. That nigga, I like that. I like that. That was great.
But unlike Tanaka, there are also instances where you
better not
expect
show Usopp.
absolutely nothing of a goofy character until they prove you completely wrong.
Usopp ain't do shit for real, for real. Let me stop.
Usopp from One Piece is the
He had
official
Dressrosa.
sniper of the Straw Hat Pirates, and the crew's underdog
Really?
is pretty reasonable, I think. The man is surrounded by people with monstrous, inhuman physical strength with powers that
Monster trio.
bend the rules of reality, while he is pretty much a regular dude. During the entire story, he mostly survives on trickery, psychological warfare, and cowardice. The comically long nose, the unhinged facial expressions, and the most ridiculous, completely made-up lies about himself that he tells with full confidence every single
What's the
time.
boy had a liar
But when
fruit.
this man
Make
is
bitches come
forced
true.
into actual combat, the tactics he pulls out are so goofy, so petty, and so unbelievably creative that you genuinely cannot be mad at it. During one of his fights, Usopp pulls out a mallet. This thing is an absolutely massive, jet black, terrifying hammer with the words 5 tons
That bitch
painted
is just
on the side
two
in
frying
big
pans,
white
bro.
letters. His opponents see it and immediately start panicking. Very valid reaction. Except that in reality, the hammer is 2 tiny frying pans wrapped around inside a giant black inflatable balloon, which
Low key, I'm mad as fuck. They don't really, Oda doesn't really make him do shit like this no more, you feel me? After the time skip, he's more so using the plant stuff and shit to make attacks and shit. Like, he was way more creative back in the day.
is just supposed to scare people off. During another fight,
feel me?
this man stands up completely serious and starts chanting what he calls the Usopp spell. What is the Usopp spell, you might ask? Basically, my dude starts yelling out the most deeply uncomfortable, specific, viscerally unpleasant things he can think of. Stuff like, a needle is stuck under your fingernail, or even, every time you chew, you bite your tongue. And he does that to some of the most powerful enemies out there. But much later in the series, after the Straw Hats escape this place called Water 7, their ship, the Going Merry, is way beyond repair. Luffy decides they have to abandon it, but Usopp
baby Merry,
refuses to
man.
accept this. To him, the Merry isn't just a ship. It's a crewmate that carried them through every adventure
then
they
his-
ever
his
had.
fine shit
The
gave it to him,
disagreement
too.
escalates into a duel between them, which Usopp loses before leaving the crew for good. While isolated from them,
Not for
Usopp
good.
learns that Robin, another member of the crew, has sacrificed herself to the world government to save them. The Straw Hats immediately prepare to launch a rescue mission to the island of Enies Lobby. Usopp desperately wants to help save her, but his pride and guilt prevent him from simply walking back to the crew after quitting. So, to help them without revealing his identity, he returns under the mask of Sogeking.
Sogeking.
And let's be clear,
Straight
everyone
bullshit.
except for Luffy and Chopper immediately recognize him. But you know, they play along because they understand his predicament. he burns the world government flag without hesitation, showing that he will fight the entire world for his team.
I ain't gonna lie, you gotta understand though, nigga just got his ass beat. You feel me? But that's real homeboy. He got his ass beat from everybody in the game. But still came when they needed him the most. Niggas shot down against the government for them niggas. He burned down the government flag for them niggas. You go to jail for that in real life. He did that shit, no second question. Yeah, that bitch was fire. I ain't like, what's up a real nigga though? My fault. So I've been talking shit about your game, but you're a real nigga at the end of the day. Just a bitch.
During this arc, that is exactly what he does by repeatedly risking his life. But not only that, because after the rescue is over, the ship starts sailing away without him. And as it gets further and further to evade marine cannonballs, Usopp chases them down. Realizing his pride almost cost him his family, he bursts into tears and screams out his true feelings. Beyond the battles and all the epicness, Usopp had a final enemy to face if he wanted to become the courageous warrior he's always dreamed of. And that is pride.
Oh, I ain't gonna lie. Oh, that's a great biblical reference too. You feel me? Your pride will get in the way of everything. It's okay to feel me. It's okay to feel strong about yourself in some aspects, but if it goes against morals, your friendships, you feel me, your connections with people in the worst way, you feel me? You shouldn't be that prideful in situations.
Before I get to the final goofball,
Don't let people run
I
over
would like
you,
to
though.
give a
You
couple
feel
of
me?
honorable mentions, which are Vash the Stampede from Trigun, who somehow manages to pull off the most ridiculous moves while simultaneously being a silly little goose. And also Mako from Kill la Kill, who might honestly be one of the goofiest characters in fiction history, but her luck in moments weren't that crazy.
Who's it? Well, my niggas in that cell. I almost forgot you was here, gang.
すみません善一さん
Zenitsu from Demon
Like, he
Slayer
my favorite-
is
I ain't gonna lie, he one of my
Demon Slayer,
favorites
traveling alongside
from
the
the
main
show.
character. What most anime watchers know about Zenitsu is that this boy is the most theatrical, most unhinged, most embarrassing little dude in the entire show.
Get in
Bro
again.
does not need a demon to show
Wait,
up.
but look, you know how bad you have to be acting, whereas a person for Sandro to make that face towards you? The nigga Sandro's a ray of fucking sunshine. His worst day is one cloud in the sky, and his mindscape was looking at you like, that's in that too. That was bad.
He will start screaming at the possibility of a demon. At even the slightest thought of danger, he will latch onto Tanjiro like a backpack, cry actual rivers, and start panicking. His face does things that should not be physically possible. There's this one time when he was in a haunted mansion and met a terrified child shaking in fear before grabbing this child and putting him in front of himself as a shield. But the most insane part of this character is that the only reason he is still breathing is that whenever things get too scary, his body just says, all right, we're done. And he faints, which is when his real power kicks in, meaning this man has never, not once, fought a single demon while conscious. This is, of course, until he hears...
Wait, hold on. So you know, what's it? I forgot what his name. Final selection. That's what it's called. Remind me in the comments. Do y'all think he just passed out because all the demons was around? So he was passed out all them days and just woke up and graduated to Demon Slayer? Like, is that what happened? That had to be what happened.
Billy, you're thinking. Billy, you're thinking.
Bro, come on, bro.
Billy, hold on. You're thinking.
There's no way he did that bitch awake.
About Kaigaku. A long
Fuck that nigga
time
Kaigaku.
ago.
Nigga,
Kaigaku
bitch.
trained under the same master as Zenitsu. But after betraying the Demon Slayer Corps and becoming a demon, he brought unimaginable shame upon the man who had taught both of them. And that is why Zenitsu decided to face him. Haikyuu mastered several forms of thunder breathing and traded his humanity for demonic powers. As far as he's concerned, Zenitsu does not stand a chance against him. He unleashes his thunder breathing, combining it with his demon powers. Lightning tears into Zenitsu's body, splitting his skin. But when he gets back up, something is different. For the first time in the entire series, he's fully awake. The boy who spent years panicking and screaming is gone, much more completely. But as the fight rages, he reveals a form of thunder breathing that nobody had ever seen before. A technique he created himself. The seventh form. Before Kaigaku can even follow his movement,
Oh, he looks so tough.
Zenitsu vanishes. In a single flash, he tears past him and severs the demon's head from his shoulder.
Flaming thunder god,
And in the
nigga.
end, The boy who spent the entire series convinced he was too weak to survive turned out to be the one who
Wait,
pushed Thunder breathing further than anyone.
did he make that up in this time span when we got the letter? Cause he got that letter locked the fuck in, and that was quick as fuck during the Infinity Castle. Haikyuu, you a fucking you ass as fuck. You was on my nigga. You was on my nigga dick about only knowing one style, cause you can learn it. He can learn that bitch, but he was on that nigga dick, and he learned that he made his own and used it on you in like a week.
Get off that nigga dick, bro. What is you doing?
Niggas be fake demons, nigga.
Came before him.
That was a great video. If y'all enjoyed the reaction, comment down below anything you would like me to react to. Also, subscribe. We're almost to 1,000 subs. Like I said, you feel me? I think it's about that time. I don't want to go. I do not want to go to work. I'm done. But hey, if y'all enjoyed the reaction, like, comment, subscribe. Also, make sure, like I said, comment something for me to react to, gang. All right, we'll see y'all boys tomorrow. Packa out.